Hmm. 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 One hen, two ducks, three squawking geese, four Limerick oysters, five corpulent porpoises, six pairs of Don Alberto's tweezers, 7,000 Macedonians in full battle array, eight brass monkeys from the ancient sacred crypts of Egypt, nine apathetic, sympathetic, diabetic old men on roller skates with a marked propensity towards procrastination and sloth, 10 lyrical, spherical, diabolical denizens of the deep who all stall around the corner of the quay of the quivery, all at the same time. Hmm. Well, we got that over with. Oh my god. Wait. Excerpt. Excerpt. ERGT. Excerpt. 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 Selected passage, written or musical. The cinematic equivalent of an excerpt from a novel is a film clip. Mm, Synonyms: extract, selection. The cinematic equivalent of an excerpt from a novel is a film clip. Oh, okay. Excerpt. It's a noun. Passage or segment taken from a longer work, such as a literary or musical composition, a document or a film. Uh, is it a transitive verb? Just once. Oh, I guess it is a transitive verb. Do, 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 do. To select or use, to select or use material from an excerpt. To take a part or passage from a book, speech, or play, etc. A part or passage taken from a book, speech, play, etc., and considered on its own. Extract. Excerpt. A passage or quotation taken or selected from a book, document, film, or the like. An extract. To take or select a passage from a book, film, or the like. An extract. An extract. An extraction. Extractable. Extractor. Or excerpt. Excerptor. Excerptable. Exception. Exhilarating is an adjective, which is invigorating and refreshing. Though some of the hikers found tramping through the snow tiring, Jeff found the walk on the cold, crisp day exhilarating. Synonyms: enlivening, stimulating, heady. Hmm, is that right? Exhilarating. Exhilarating. I said exhilarating. 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 Causing exhilaration, invigorating, causing strong feelings of excitement and happiness, making lively and cheerful, the exhilarating effect of mountain air, invigorating, imparting strength and vitality, the invigorating mountain air, exhilarating, making lively and joyful, creating or arousing excitement, an exciting trip of her, exciting trip of her, an exciting account of her trip is exhilarating, producing or stimulating physical, mental, or emotional vigor. Exhilarating, causing exhilaration, invigorating. Let's see. Illustrate. 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 Illusory. 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 It's an adjective. Not real, causing an illusion. Unfortunately, the cost of running the lemonade stand was so high that Tom's profits proved illusory. Synonyms: deceptive, misleading, illusory. Okay. Illusory, 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 illusory. Produced by, based on, or having the nature of an illusion. Deceptive, illusory, elusive. Producing, produced by, or based on illusion. Deceptive or unreal. Elusive is sometimes wrongingly used where elusive with an e is meant they fought hard, but victory remained elusive, not elusive. Illusory. Causing illusion, deceptive, misleading, like illusion, unreal. Based on having the nature of an illusion, elusive, elusive. Hopes of finding a better job. Secret activities offer presidents the alluring but often illusory promise that they can achieve foreign policy goals without the bothersome debate and open decisions that are staples of democracy. Lacking in reality or substance or genuineness, not corresponding to acknowledged facts or criteria, ghosts and other unreal entities. Unreal propaganda serving as news. Illusory. 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 Peripheral. Or if real. Peripheral. An adjective. Related to. Related to the surface or outer part of minor importance. Oh, related to the surface or outer part of minor importance. Rather than live in the crowded city center, we choose to buy a house in one of the peripheral suburbs, ringing the metropolis. Synonyms: marginal, outer, external, and superficial. Peripheral. 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 Related to, located in, or constituting an outer boundary or periphery. Peripheral. Peripheral. Periphery. Periphery. Perceived or perceiving near the outer edges of the retina, the peripheral vision. Anatomy of the surface or outer part of a body or organ, external, peripheral, of relating to or being part of the peripheral nervous system, of minor relevance or importance, peripheral, auxiliary, peripheral. And it's a noun in computers, an auxiliary device such as a printer, modem, or storage system that works in conjunction with a computer, a peripheral. Peripheral, not relating to the most important part of something, incidental, minor, or superficial, of relating to or of the nature of a periphery. Anatomy, of relating to or situated near the surface of the body, a peripheral nerve, also peripheric, and periphery, peripheral, 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 pertaining or constituting the periphery. Concerned with the minor or superficial aspects of a question, near the surface or outer of, external, of or pertaining to a computer peripheral, an external hardware device, as a keyboard, printer, or tape drive connected to a computer CPU, a peripheral. 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 Mm, dis- No. No. Disputatious? Disputatious? Disputatious. 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 Fond of arguing. Conceive, convinced he knew more than his lawyers, Allen was disputatious. Disputatious. Allen was a disputatious client, always ready to argue about the best way to conduct the case. Convinced he knew more than his lawyers, Allen was a disputatious client, always ready to argue about the best way to conduct the case. Synonyms: argumentative, pugnacious, contentious. Pugnacious. Disputatious. Inclined to dispute. Argumentative. Inclined to argument. Fond of or given to disputation. Argumentative, contentious. Disputatious. Inclined or showing an inclination to dispute or disagree, even to engage in lawsuits. A style described as abrasive and contentious. A disputatious lawyer. A litigious and acrimonious spirit. Disputatious, given to or characterized by argument, an argumentative discourse, argumentative to the point of being cantankerous, an intelligent but argumentative child. Disputatious. 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 Appropriate. Appropriate. Take possession of. Take possession of for one's own use, possibly without the authority or right to do so. The ranch owners appropriated the lands that had originally been set aside for the Indians' use. Synonyms: acquire, annex, appropriate. No, use the D at the end. Appropriate. 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 Suitable for particular person, condition, occasion, or place. Fitting. Appropriate. 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 To set apart for a specific use. To take possession of or make use of exclusively for oneself without permission. Appropriate. 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 As an adjective is right or suitable, fitting. Appropriate. Rare usage is particular and own. A verb, it is to take for one's own use, especially illegally, without permission. Banking or finance, to put aside, such as funds, for a particular purpose or person. Appropriate or appropriate. 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 Particularly suitable, fitting, compatible. To set apart for specific purpose or use, to take to or for oneself, take possession of, to take without permission, expropriate. Let's expropriate. No. Expropriate, to take a property for public use. Oh, okay. Expropriate and appropriate. Appropriate. Arbitrary. Determined by impulse or whim. Capricious. Baseball is a game of arbitrary calls. Umpires constantly make decisions that, to someone sitting in the bleachers, make no sense. Capricious, unreasonable, tyrannical. I don't know. That sounds kind of iffy on a baseball game. Baseball is a game of arbitrary calls. I don't know about that. Arbitrary. Determined by chance, whim, or impulse, and not by necessity, reason, or principle. Doesn't sound like baseball. Not at all. Arbitrary. 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 Based on or subject to individual judgment or preference. Arbitrary. In law, relating to a decision made by a court or legislature that lacks a grounding in law or fact. Arbitrary. Not limited by law. Despotic. Arbitrary. The arbitrary rule of a dictator. An arbitrary penalty. The diet imposes overall calorie limits, but daily menus are arbitrary. Stopped at the first motel we passed, an arbitrary choice. Arbitrary. Founded on or subject to personal whims, prejudices, etc. Capricious, having only relative application or relevance, not absolute. Arbitrary in government politics and diplomacy of a government ruler is despotic or dictatorial, arbitrary. In mathematics, not representing any specific value, arbitrary, an arbitrary constant. Arbitrary. Arbitrary. In law, especially of a penalty or punishment, not laid down by statute within the court's discretion. Arbitrary. Subject to individual will or judgment without restriction. Contingent solely upon one's discretion, an arbitrary decision. Decided by a judge or arbiter rather than by a law or statute, arbitrary. Having unlimited power, uncontrolled or unrestricted by law, despotic. Capricious, unreasonable, unsupported, an arbitrary demand for payment. In math, it is undetermined, not assigned a specific value, an arbitrary constant, based on or subject to individual discretion or preference, or sometimes impulsive or caprice, an caprice, caprice, an arbitrary decision, an arbitrary rule of a dictator, an arbitrary penalty, an arbitrary size and shape, an arbitrary choice, an arbitrary division of the group into halves, not subject to individual determination. Oh, no, wait. Yeah, arbitrary, determined by chance, whim, or impulse, and not by necessity, reason, or principle. Arbitrary. See, I have a better dictionary than the one that's on these flashcards. The Baron vocabulary. Gravity. Gravity. Here's a noun. Who would have guessed it? Seriousness or critical nature. We could tell we were in serious trouble from the gravity of the principal's expression. Synonym: severity, solemnity, 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 solemnity. What's that? Solemnity. 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 But we're talking about gravity. Gravity. We could tell we were in serious trouble from the gravity of the principal's expression. Grave consequence, seriousness or importance. Solemnity or dignity of matter. In physics, the natural attraction between physical bodies, especially when one of the bodies is a celestial body, such as the Earth. See, gravitation. Gravity. In general physics, the force of attraction that moves or tends to move bodies towards the center of a celestial body, such as the Earth or Moon. The property of being heavy or having weight. Another name for gravitation. Gravity is seriousness or importance, especially as a consequence of an action or opinion, matter of or conduct that is solemn or dignified. Gravity. In classical music, it's the lowness in pitch, gravity. General physics, A modifier of or relating to gravity or gravitation or their effects. The force of attraction by which terrestrial bodies tend to fall toward the center of the Earth. Heaviness or weight, gravitation in general, acceleration of gravity, the seriousness or critical nature, to ignore the gravity of one's illness, serious or dignified behavior, lowness in pitch as of sound, gravity. Gravity comes from the Latin gravitas, comes from Latin gravitas, from gravus, heavy, important, and it can apply to situations and problems as well as to people. Gravity, the natural attraction between two bodies, the grave consequent seriousness or importance, gravity. Oh my god, it's only been 25 minutes, for fuck's sake. Emulate, emulate, emulate. There's a verb. Attempt to equal or outdo. In a brief essay, describe a person you admire, someone whose virtues and achievements you would like to emulate. Synonyms: imitate, copy, rival. Attempt to equal or outdo, emulate. Emulate. To strive to equal or excel, to vie with, successfully. Not to be confused with imitate, which is to copy actions, appearance, or mannerisms of another. Ape, mock, mimic, parody is to imitate. Emulate. Emulate. Strive to equal or excel, to vie with successfully. Emulate. To strive to equal or excel, especially through imitation. An older pupil whose accomplishments and style I emulated. Emulate, to complete with successfully, to compete with successfully, approach or attain equality with. Emulate. In computers, to imitate the functions of another system, as by modifications to hardware or software that allow the imitating system to accept the same data, execute the same programs, and achieve the same results as the imitated system. Emulate is a verb. To attempt to equal or surpass, especially by imitation. Emulate, to rival or compete with. Computer science, to make one computer behave like another different type of computer, so that the imitating system can operate on the same data and execute the same programs as the imitated system. Emulate. Emulate, to imitate in an effort to equal or surpass, to rival with some degree of success, to imitate the functions of, such as computer systems, by means of software, and to replace software with hardware to perform the same task. Emulate means to try or surpass, especially by copying. Emulate. 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 Volatile? Volatile. Is that right? Volatile. Am I right on that? Volatile. Nope. Volatile.
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 Or the American volatile. 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 Or volatile. In chemistry, oh no, actually, here, we're going to do this one. Evaporating rapidly, tending to explode into violence or to change unexpectedly. Acetone is an extremely volatile liquid. It evaporates instantly. The diva's temper was extremely volatile. Volatile,
Volatile.
volatile,
Volatile.
volatile. The diva's temper was extremely volatile. The only thing you could predict was that she would blow up.
Volatile.
Acetone is extremely volatile liquid. Is an extremely volatile liquid. It evaporates instantly. The diva's temper was extremely volatile. Volatile and volatile. The only good thing you could predict was the synonyms: changeable, fickle, explosive, effervescent. Volatile. In chemistry, means evaporating readily at normal temperatures and pressures. Capable of readily vapor capable of being readily vaporized. Tending to vary often or widely, as in price, volatile. Inconsistent, fickle, lighthearted, flighty, ephemeral, fleeting, tending to violence, explosive, flying or capable of flying, volant, in computers, of or relating to memory whose data is erased when the computer's power is interrupted, volatile.
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 Volatile. In chemistry, of a substance capable of readily changing from a solid or liquid form to a vapor, having a high vapor pressure and a low boiling point. Volatile, as of persons, disposed to caprice or inconsistency, fickle, mercurial. Volatile, of circumstances, is liable to sudden, unpredictable, or explosive exchange. Volatile, lasting only a short time. Volatile business interests. In computer science, volatile, computing of a memory, not retaining stored information when power supply is cut off. Volatile, an obsolete definition of flying or capable of flights. Volatent. Volant. Volant? Volant. A volatile substance. Volatile. A rare definition for a winged creature. A volatile. Volatile. Evaporating rapidly, passing off readily in the form of vapor. Acetone is a volatile solvent. Oh, acetone is extremely volatile liquid. Tending to threaten to break out into open violence, explosive, volatile, 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 characterized by or label to sharp or sudden changes, unstable, a volatile stock market, changeable as in mood or temper, mercurial, flighty, fleeting, transients, volatile, of computer storage, not retaining data when electricity power is turned off. It can also mean flying or able to fly, volatile. A volatile substance is a gas or solvent. Easily change it, changing easily from liquid to vapor at normal temperatures and pressures. Volatile describes a substance which readily turns into vapor. A volatile substance, a substance that changes readily from solid to liquid into a vapor. Volatile, evaporating readily at normal temperatures and pressures. Liable to lead to sudden change or violence, an explosive issue. A volatile situation with troops and rioters eager for confrontation. Volatile, lacking stability or fixedness or firmness. Marked by erratic changeableness in affections or attachments, fickle. Volatile affections, likely to change frequently, often without apparent or cogent 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 reasons, variable, volatile, such that an alteration is possible, having a marked tendency to change. Da, 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 da. Volatile, 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 volatile. Eulogy, eulogy is a noun. Expression of praise, often on the occasion of someone's death. Instead of delivering a spoken eulogy at Jenny's memorial service, Jeff sang a song he had written in her memory. Well, couldn't find anything good to say about her, huh, Jeff? He had to write a song. I wrote the song for Jenny. Jenny! I wrote the song for you because I couldn't think of anything else to write. Attribute, commendation, eulogy, an oral or written laudatory tribute,
Laudatory.
laudatory,
Laudatory.
laudatory, a written or an oral or written laudatory tribute, a set oration in honor of a deceased person, high praise or com- condemnation. Minister gave a touching eulogy at the funeral, not to be confused with elegy, a mournful or melancholy musical composition or poem written as a lament for one who is dead. An elegy, not to be confused with an eulogy. A eulogy, a laudatory speech or written tribute, especially one praising someone who has died. High praise or commendation. Commendation, not condemnation. Commendation. A statement of praise, a set of oration in honor of a deceased person. High praise, a written or spoken passage conveying approval, praise, laudation, often of someone who has just died. All right, a eulogy. Jeff should have written an elegy for his song instead of a eulogy. Actually, yeah, that's instead of delivering a spoken eulogy at Jenny's memorial service, Jeff gave an elegy, is what should have been put there. All right. Esoteric. 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 Known only to the chosen few, and therefore mysterious. Stories in the New Yorker often include esoteric allusions to obscure people and events. Synonyms: obscure, secret, abstruse, cryptic, arcane. Esoteric allusions to obscure people and events. I don't know. I don't know who's reading the New Yorker. Um, Esoteric. Esoteric. Intended for or understood by only a small group, especially one with a specialized knowledge or interests. An esoteric philosopher's doctrine. Esoteric. Relating to or being a small group with specialized knowledge or interests. Not known by or suitable for the public, private. Not known by or suitable for the public, private, esoteric. As a noun, means one that is esoteric. Esoterics, esoteric matters, esoterica. The course is anything but an exercise in ivory tower esoterics. Esoteric, restricted to or intended for unenlightened or initiated minority, especially because of the obtusiveness or obscurity. Obtusiveness or obscurity. An esoteric cult. Difficult to understand, obtuse, not openly admitted, private, esoteric aims, or an esoteric statement, esoteric cult. Esoteric, understood by or meant for only the select few who have special knowledge or interest, or for the initiates of a group. Recondite, recondite, recon, recondite.
Recondite.
Recondite. Recondite, not easily understood, obtruse, or obscure, concealed and hidden. Recondite is what that is. Belonging to a select few, private, secret. Oh, I was doing that. Okay. Confined to or understood by just a few people. Esoteric. Esoteric knowledge. Did you know? Blah, 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 blah. Flippant. Flippant. No, not flippant. Flippant. No, not flip ant. Flippant.
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 Flippant. Flippant. Lacking proper seriousness. When Mark told Mona he loved her, she dismissed his earnest declaration with a flippant, "Oh, you say that to all the girls." Synonyms: frivolous, uh, impertinent, disrespectful, impertinent, disrespectful, or frivolous. A flippant, marked by disrespectful levity or casualness. Hurt is flippant. An archaic definition is talkative, and voluble, a flippant, marked by inappropriate levity, frivolous or offhand. Impertinent, saucy. An obsolete definition is talkative or nimble, flippant. He's quite flippant with all those flips. The nimble or talkative. The president is quite flippant. His mental state is quite flippant. Frivolous, disrespectful, shallow, or lacking in seriousness. Archaic definition is glib and voluble. Glib. There's a word. Flippant, show an inappropriate levity. Not serious in content or attitude or behavior. A frivolous novel, a frivolous remark, a frivolous young woman. Frivolous, flippant, glib, flippant, flip it, bop it, punch it, twist it. Descent, descent, descent as a verb. No, descent, descent,
Descent.
descent, descent. Withhold agreement. In the recent Supreme Court decision, Justice Sotomayor dissented from the majority opinion. Disagree. Dissent. Dissent.
Descent.
Dissent.
Descent.
Dissent. To differ in settlement or opinion. Disapproval. Disagreement. Open to dissent. Not to be confused with dissent. Downward incline or passage, which is a descent or descent. Descent. Descent.
Descent.
Descent.
Descent.
Descent.
Descent.
Dissent. To have or express an opinion different from or prevailing or official position. Disagree. In law means to reach a conclusion contrary to the majority of the judges deciding a case. Render a minority opinion. To dissent. Noun. As a noun, a difference of opinion or feeling, disagreements, the refusal to conform to the authority or doctrine of an established church, nonconformity. In law, a judicial opinion reaching a conclusion contrary to that reached by the majority of judges deciding a case. A minority opinion, also called a dissenting opinion. A dissenting opinion, not dissenting. A dis, dissenting, or dissenting, DEC, dissenting. To have a disagreement or withhold assent. Eccle, eccle, ecclesiastical, which is
Ecclesiastical.
ecclesiastical. Ecclesiastical terms, dissent in Christianity is to refuse to conform to the doctrines, beliefs, or practices of an established church and to adhere to a different system of beliefs and practices. Does this dissent as a verb? As a noun, A difference of opinion. It also in eclist. Oh, what did he say that? Eclistic,
Ecclesiastical.
ecclesiastical, ecclesiastical, ecclesiastical dissent in ecclesiastical terms means separation from an established church, nonconformism. In law, dissent is the voicing of a minority opinion in announcing the decision on a case at law, dissenting judgment. Dissent, to differ in sentiment or opinion, especially from the majority. To reject the doctrine or authority of an established church. Dissent, difference of sentiment or opinion, separation from an established church, the Church of England, and nonconformity. The dissent from the Church of England, the Church of Rome, the Church of Hullabaloo, the Church of the Pasta, the Great Pasta Perry in the Sky. What is that one? Giant Spaghetti Monster. The dissent is to differ in sentiment or opinion, disapproval, disagreement. To have and express an opinion different from that of a prevailing or official position. Disagree. Recluse. Recluse. Someone who withdraws from society. Disappointed in love, Miss Emily became a recluse. She shut herself away in her empty mansion and refused to see another living soul. Ah, poor Miss Emily. Synonyms: hermit, loner. Uh, a recluse. Recluse, a person who withdraws from the world to live in seclusion and often in solitude. To withdrawn from the world, reclusive. A person who lives in seclusion. Eclecast, how do you say that? Ecclesiastical,
Ecclesiastical.
ecclesiastical, ecclesiastical recluse means a person who lives in solitude to devote himself to prayer and religious meditation. A hermit, an acro, acro, acroite, an acronist. No, what is that word?
Anchorite.
Anchorite or an anchronist. Solitary, retiring. Reclusive, a person who lives in seclusion or apart from society. One who lives in solitude. A person who avoids the company or association of others. Withdrawn from society, seeking solitude. Not seeking or giving to association, being or living with companions. Solitary and shut off from society. Recluse. A person who withdraws from the world to live in seclusion and often in solitude.
Recluse.
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 Recluse. Or recluse. Recluse. Disseminate. Disseminate.
Disseminate.
Disseminate.
Disseminate.
Disseminate.
Disseminate.
Disseminate. Disseminate is a verb. Scatter, as in sowing seeds. By their use of the internet, propagandists have been able to disseminate their pet doctrines to new audiences around the globe. Distribute, spread, broadcast, circulate. The scatter, disseminate. Disseminate. To scatter widely, as in sowing seeds, to spread abroad. Prom, pro, promulgate, 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 promulgate,
Promulgate.
promulgate,
Promulgate.
promulgate,
Promulgate.
promulgate, promulgate. Disseminate is to promulgate. Disseminate, to be diffused, spread. Disseminate, to distribute or scatter about, diffuse. To scatter or spread widely, as if sowing seeds. Promulgate, promulgate extensively. Broadcast, disperse. Disseminate, to disseminate, cause to become widely known, spread information, circulate a rumor, broadcast the news, disseminate. Make public. She aired her opinions on welfare, disseminate. Distribute, such as media files over the internet for playback on mobile device or personal computer, disseminate. As to disseminate, as to sow, introduce into an environment, sow suspicious beliefs, disseminate. To circle around, spread, disseminate, become widely known and passed on. The rumor spread, the story went around the office. Disseminate. Popularize, vulgarize, generalize. To disseminate is cater to popular taste, to make popular and present to the general public, bringing into general or common use. They popularized coffee in Washington state. Relativity theory was vulgarized by these authors. Is to disseminate. Is to carry, include as the content, broadcast, or publicize. We ran the ad 3 times. This paper carries a restaurant review. All major networks carry the press conference. Is disseminate. Spread, publish, broadcast, distribute, scatter, proclaim, circulate, sow, disperse, diffuse, publicize, dissipate, propagate, promulgate. To extend over a wide area, to pass something out, to make information generally known, disseminate. I'm gonna disseminate you all over this room. Just you watch. What is this? Surreptitious. 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 Oh, I said that right.
Surreptitious.
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 Surreptitious is an adjective. Done by stealth. Government agents have been known to use wiretapping or other surreptitious methods to spy on suspecting terrorists. Synonym: secret, furtive, 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 sneaky, hidden. Surreptitious. Obtained, done, or made by clandestine or stealthy means. Surreptitious. Surreptitious. Done, acquired, etc. in secret or by improper means. Surreptitious, operating by stealth, characterized by fraud or misrepresenting of the truth. Surreptitious. Obtained, done, made, etc. by stealth, clandestine, secret. Surreptitious, acting in a stealthy way. Surreptitious, surreptitiousness, surreptitiously, marked by quiet and caution and secrecy, taking pains to avoid being observed. A furtive manner, a sneaky attack, stealthy footsteps, a surreptitious glance at his watch. Surreptitious, as to conceal, hidden on any grounds, for any motive. A concealed weapon, a concealed compartment in his briefcase. Surreptitious. Surreptitious, conducted with or marked by hidden aims or methods. Secret or hidden, not openly practiced or engaged in, or shown or avoided. Covert. Surreptitious, as to be secret. Not to be confused with surreptitious is delicious. Surreptitious. Oh, that was very surreptitious of you. There's so much maple syrup everywhere. Repel. Drive away. Create distaste in. At first, the beast's grotesque appearance repelled Beauty, but she came to love the tender heart hidden behind that beastly exterior. Resist, discourage, disgust, revolt, nauseate. To repel. Repel. Or repeal. Is it repeal?
Repel.
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 Repel. Not to be confused with rappel. 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 The technique of controlled descent from a height to rappel down a cliff. Repel.
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 Repel is to drive back, ward off, repel the enemy, to be repulsed by. To ward off or keep away, drive back. To offer resistance to, fight against. To refuse to accept or submit to, reject. To refuse to accept someone, spurn. To cause aversion or distaste in. Your rudelessness repels everyone. To be resistant to, be incapable of absorbing or mixing with, is to repel. In physics, to present an opposing force to, push back or away from by force. In physics, is to repel. To present an opposing force to push back or away from by a force. To offer a resistance force to something. To cause aversion or distaste. Repel. Repels, repelling, repelled. To force or drive back something or somebody, especially an attacker. Repel, to produce a feeling of aversion or distaste in someone or something, to be disgusted, to be disgusting to. Repel, to push aside, dismiss, to be effective in keeping away, controlling, or resisting. To have no affinity for, fail to mix with or absorb. Water and oil repel each other. To disdain, to accept something, turn away from, or spurn. In general physics, it is to exert an opposing force on something, to repel. Repel, to drive back or force back an assailant, an invader, etc. To thrust back or away, to fail to mix with, to resist the absorption of, to cause distaste or aversion in, to push away by force, as opposed to attract. To act with a force that drives or keeps away something, to cause distaste or aversion. To repel. To repel. To cause a cause to move back by force or influence. As a drive, to cause to move rapidly by striking or throwing with force. Repel, to push a force, move with force. Repel, be repellent to, cause aversion in. Offend the moral sense of. Cause to feel intense dislike or distaste. Give displeasure to. Be force or drive back. Fight against or resist strongly. Repel. Reject outright and bluntly. Fill with distaste. Stir feelings in. To repel. Upset and make nauseated. Repel. 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 You repel. Not to be confused with repel. Down. Your repelling repels me. Deplore. Deplore. There's a verb. Regret strongly. Express grief over. Although the advice columnist deplored the high rate of divorce nowadays, she realized that not every marriage could be saved. Synonyms are disapprove and lament. Deplore. To deplore, a verb. To feel or express strong disapproval of, condemn. To express sorrow or grief over. To regret, bemoan. Deplore.
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 Deplore. Deplore. Deplore. Deplore, to express or feel sorry about, lament, regret. Deplore, to express or feel strong disapproval of, censure. Deplore. Deplored, deploring, plorable. To regret deeply or strongly, lament. To disapprove of, censure. Express strong disapproval of, find fault with. Express criticism of, point out real or perceived flaws. Deplore, cause or declare to be evil or antithemal or threaten with divine punishment. What is that word?
Anathema.
Anathema?
Anathema.
Anathema.
Yeah.
Anathema. Neat. Anathema. Deplore, cursed or declared to be evil or anathema, or threaten with divine punishment. Deplore, regret strongly. Express complaints, discontent, displeasure, or unhappiness. To express, to feel strong disapproval of, to feel or express sorrow for. Deplore. Deplore. Um, basket of deplorables. Basket of deplorables. Bless- Disclose. Disclose. Make known. Cause to be seen. Although competitors offered him bribes, Scott refused to disclose any information about his company's new product. Reveal, divulge. Who's Scott referring to? Who is that referred to? Scott. From The Office? Disclose. To expose to view as by removing a cover, uncover. To make known. Something therefore kept secret. Disclose to make information known. Disclose to make known, to allow to be seen, lay bare, to make known, reveal, to lay open to view. To make known to the public information that was previously known only to a few people or that was meant to be kept a secret. Bringing out of concealment, explore and expose misconduct and scandals concerning public figures, disclose, cause to be revealed and jeopardized. Reveal, as in something, about someone's identity or lifestyle. To state openly and publicly one's own. Disclose. Produce or disclose suddenly or unexpectedly. Be released or become known of news. Reveal unintentionally. Reveal in private. Tell confidently. Tell anonymously. Divulge confidential information or secrets. Let something be known, disclose discreetly, or through prophets. God rarely reveals his plans for mankind. He discloses them through prophets. Disclose, to view, as by removing a cover. Turn so as to expose the face, and make visible. Disclose. Spill your guts. Spill the beans. Make known. Disclose. Conscientious. Consent. Conscientious. No. Maybe it's consensus. That's it. Consensus.
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 Consensus. All right. As a noun. Agreement arrived by, at, or agreement arrived at by a group as a whole. Every time the garden club members had nearly reached a consensus about what to plant, Mistress Mary, quite contrary, disagreed. Mistress Mary is just a uh curmudgeon. That's one of those words we used earlier. Con- contentious. She is she is disputatious, Miss Mary. Synonyms: concord, unanimity. I don't know that word. Unanimity, unanimity,
Unanimity.
unanimity, 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 unanimity. We're talking about consensus, consensus,
Consensus.
consensus, consensus,
Consensus.
consensus. An opinion or position reached by a group as a whole. General agreements or accord. Consensus. General or widespread agreement. Collective judgment or belief, solidarity of opinion. General agreement or concord, harmony. Consensus. Agreement in judgment or opinion reached by a group as a whole. Those rights and obligations are based on an unstated consensus. Harmony of people's opinions or actions or characters. Two parties were in agreement. There was a consensus. The quality or condition of being in complete agreement or harmony. Consensus. Consensus. Unlike Miss Merritt, who is pretentious. Is that right? Pretentious? Pretentious.
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 Pretentious. Pretentious is an adjective. Making an exaggerated show to attract attention, making unjustified claims. Because the excessively large new homes in the area struck us as pretentious, we made fun of them, calling them McMansions. Ostentatious, synonyms are ostentatious, showy, exaggerated, pompous. Pretentious, pretentious. Claiming that or behaving as if one is important or deserving of merit when such is not the case. Is pretentious. Showing or betraying an attitude of superiority. Pretentious, marked by extravagant or presumptuous outward show, ostentatious. Also showy. Pretentious, making claim to distinction or importance, especially undeservedly. Having or creating a deceptive outer appearance of great worth, ostentatious. Pretentious. Full of pretension, characterized by the assumption of dignity, importance, artistic distinction, etc. Making an exaggerated outward show, ostentatious, showy. Pretentious, making claim to or creating an appearance of, often undeserved, importance or distinction. A pretentious country house, a pretentious fraud, a pretentious scholarly addition, lacking aesthetic or social taste, lacking pretension or affection, affectation,
Affectation.
affectation, affectation. Pretentious, intended to attract notice and impress others. Of pretentious of a display is thoughty or vulgar. Tawdry, sorry, tawdry or vulgar is pretentious of a display. Tasteless, lacking aesthetic or social tastes. Characterized by an exaggerated show of dignity or self-importance. Pretentious, marked by outward, often exaggerant display. Pretentious. Yes, this is very pretentious. Pretentious showing vulgarity. Sure. Hardy. It's hardy. It's hardy. Able to withstand harsh conditions. We asked the gardening expert to recommend particularly hardy plants that could survive our harsh New England winters. The synonyms are tough, strong, robust. Hardy. Hardy. Vigorous, robust, stout, brave. Not to be confused with hearty. Hearty. Hearty, as warm hearted, jovial, and substantial. Hardy is able to withstand difficult or adverse conditions. Robust. Courageous, intrepid. An archaic definition is brazenly daring. Audacious is hardy. Hardy, a square shanked chisel that fits into a square hole in an anvil is a hardy. Hmm. Having or demanding a tough constitution, robust, bold, courageous, foolhardy, rash. In botany of plants, hardy is able to live out of doors throughout the winter. Hardy. Hardy is a noun, and tools, any blacksmith's tools made with a square shank so it can be lodged in a square hole in an anvil. Hardy. Mollify. Mollify is a verb. Moderate in intensity. The airline customer service agent tried to mollify the angry passenger by offering her a first class seat. Synonyms are placate, soothe, appease, pacify. Mollify. Mollify.
Mollify. Mollify.
Mollify. To calm the anger of, soothe, or appease. Pacify. Mollify. To lessen, as in intensity. Assuage. 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 Assuage.
Assuage.
Assuage.
Assuage.
Assuage. To assuage. Mollify. To lessen, as in intensity. Sage. Archaic is to reduce the rigidity of, soften. Mollify. Mollify. To pacify, soothe. To lessen the harshness or severity of. Mollify. To soften in feeling or temper. Pacify, appease. To mitigate, reduce. Cause to be more favorable, inclines. Gain the goodwill of. Make calm or still. Mollify. To make more temperate, acceptable, or suitable by adding something else. Moderate. Lessen the strength of. Make less rigid or softer. Mollify. Make soft or softer. Mollify. To ease the anger or agitation of. Mollify. 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 Life on the streets. Mollify. Compile. It is a verb. To gather or put together. We compiled a list of words most frequently used on SAT examinations. Assemble, accumulate, amass, collect. To compile. Compile, to gather into a single book. To put together or compose from materials gathered from several sources. In computer terms, is to translate a program into machine language. Compile, to make or compose of other materials or sources. To collect or gather for a book, hobby, etc. Computer science, computing definition, compile, to create a set of machine instructions from a high-level programming language using a compiler. To put together, such as documents, selections, or other materials in one book or work. To make a book, writing, or the like of materials from various sources. Compile, to gather together. Compile, to translate, such as a computer program by means of a compiler. Get or gather together. Collect or gather. Get or bring together. Gather, put together indiscriminately. Make into a bale. Take in and retain. Accumulate a fund for the discharge of a recurring liability. A compile or compile. Place or store up in a fund for accumulation. Compile. Put together out of existing material. Compile. Use a computer program to translate source code written in a particular programming language into computer-readable machine code that can be executed. Make by shaping or bringing together constituents. Compile. What's to compile? Compiled. Compiling. Compiled. Aesthetic. Aesthetic.
Aesthetic. Aesthetic.
Aesthetic.
Aesthetic.
Aesthetic or aesthetic. Adjective. Dealing with or capable of appreciating the beautiful. The beauty of Tiffany's stained glass appealed to Esther's aesthetic taste. Who is Tiffany and who is Esther, and who gives a flying... Synonyms are artistic, aesthetic, aesthetic,
Aesthetic.
aesthetic, relating to a sense of beautiful, artistic, discriminating, cultivated, refines, concerned with pure emotion and sensation as opposed to pure intellectuality. Not to be confused with aesthetic, of relating to or containing acetic acid or vinegar, or aesthetic, one who leads an austere life. So we're talking about aesthetic. Relating to the philosophy or theories of aesthetics, of or concerning the appreciation of beauty or good taste, attractive or appealing, characterized by a heightened sensitivity to beauty, aesthetic being or relating to a work of art, artistic, aesthetic, informal, conforming to accepted notions of good taste. Aesthetic, of or characterized by aestheticism in the arts. As a noun, a guiding principle in matters of artistic beauty and taste, artistic sensibility. An underlying principle a set of principles, or a view often manifested by outward appearance or style of behavior, aesthetic or aesthetic. In art terms is connected with the aesthetics or its principles relating to pure beauty rather than to other considerations, artistic or relating to good tastes, aesthetic, and noun. In art terms, a principled taste or style adopted by a particular person, group, or culture. Aesthetic, pertaining to a sense of beauty or aesthetics, having a love of beauty, concerned with emotion and sensation as opposed to intellectuality. As a noun, it is a theory or idea of what is aesthetically valid. In philosophy, a philosophical theory as to what is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. The rational investigation of questions about existence and knowledge in the ethics, and ethics is aesthetic and philosophy. A doctrine accepted by adherents to a philosophy, aesthetic. As an adjective, aesthetic, relating to or dealing with the subject of aesthetics. Aesthetic means aesthetic. Don't you know? Concerning or characterized by an appreciation of beauty or good taste. Aesthetically pleasing, having or showing or conforming to good taste. Showing good taste. Aesthetic. 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 Satirical. 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 There's an adjective. Using biting wit to attack folly. Through the comments of the characters in his cartoon strip Doonesbury, cartoonist Gary Trudeau makes fun of political corruption. His humor is satirical. Synonyms is mocking, ironical, sardonic. Hmm. I don't know if I'd bring him into this, but satirical.
Satirical. Satirical.
Satirical.
Satirical.
Satirical. Of relating to or characterized by satire. Given to or fond of making satirical comments. Satirical. Of or relating to or concerning satire. Given to using of satire. 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 Exposing human folly to ridicule. Expressing or expressive of ridicule that wounds. Satirical. Satirical. Contemptuous or ironic in matter or wit. Satirical. Of satire, writing, or a piece of, I guess, media that makes someone look foolish. Of satire, mocking, a person who writes or forms satire or satires. To make look foolish by using satire. Exposing human folly to ridicule. Satirical, satirical, exposing human folly to ridicule. Rigorous, rigorous. As an adjective, demanding strict attention to meeting standards. Disliked by his superiors, Disliked by his superior officers, the officer candidate in An Officer and a Gentleman went through an extremely rigorous training program. What is with these references? Synonyms: severe, harsh, exacting, rigorous, rigorous,
Rigorous.
rigorous,
Rigorous.
rigorous,
Rigorous.
rigorous, 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 characterized by or adhering to strict standards or methods, extracting and exacting and thorough, characterized by or adhering to strict standards or methods, exacting and thorough, harsh, severe, or demanding, very unpleasant or inclement, adhering strictly to a belief or ideology, uncompromising or inflexible, inclement, stormy, showing no clemency, unmerciful. Rigorous, characterized by or proceeding from rigor, harsh, strict, or severe. Severely accurate. Scrupulous, rigorous, extreme, or harsh, especially of weather. Rigorous in mathematics, logics, rigorous of a proof, making the validity of the successive steps completely explicit. In logic, of, of a proof, rigorous, making the validity of the successive steps completely explicit. Rigorous, characterized by rigid severity. Exact, precise, extremely inclement, harsh. Logically valid. See, strict, rigid, accurate, allowing no deviation from a standard. Marked by strict and particular and complete accordance with fact. Rigorous, demanding strict attention to rules and procedures. Requiring more than usually accepted or thought due, especially great patience and effort and skill. Is demanding, rigorous, fond of the job, very demanding. Baby can be so demanding. Conforming completely to established rule, requiring great or extreme bodily, mental, or spiritual strength. Rigorous, not deviating from correctness, accuracy, or completeness, having no errors, conforming to fact, rigorous. 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 Oh, rigor. Discourse. Verb. Formally discuss a subject at some length. Hold a conversation. In the extemporaneous speaking events known to high school debaters as extemp, competitors must disclose on a subject with only 30 minutes to prepare their speech. Synonyms: converse, debate, talk. Discourse. Discourse.
Discourse.
Discourse.
Discourse.
Discourse.
Discourse.
Discourse. Discourse. Discourse. Verbal expression in speech or writing. verbal exchange or conversation, a formal, lengthy treatment of a subject, either written or spoken. An archaic definition of discourse, process or power of reasoning. Oh, that's too bad. Discourse has become archaic. The process or power of reasoning. To speak or write formally and at length. Discourse. To is an discourse. To engage in conversation or discussion, converse. To narrate or discuss, discourse. Verbal communication, conversation, discourse. Discourse as a noun. Verbal communication, talk, conversation. In literary critical terms, discourse, a formal treatment of a subject in speech or writing, such as a sermon or dissertation. Discourse, linguistics, a unit of text used by linguists for the analyst of linguistic phenomena that range over more than one sentence. Discourse as a noun. Archaic definition is the ability to reason or the reasoning process. Discourse as a verb is to speak or write formally and extensively. Discourse, to hold a discussion. In music, discourse, an archaic definition, to give forth. Music, the discourse. Discourse, communication of thought by words, talk, conversation. A formal discussion of a subject in speech or writing as a treatise or sermon. Treatise? Treatise?
Treatise.
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 Treatise as a treatise. A treatise. A formal discussion of a subject in speech or writing as a treatise or sermon. Any unit of connected speech or writing longer than a sentence. Discourse. Discoursed, discoursing. To communicate thoughts orally, talk, converse. To treat of a subject formally in speech or writing. Discourse. Extended verbal expression in speech or writing. Discourse, as a language unit or linguistic unit, one of the natural units into which linguistic messages can be analyzed. Is discourse, huh? Discourse as context or linguistic context, discourse that surrounds a language unit and helps to determine its interpretation. Discourse, a noun. Discourse, an address of a religious nature, usually delivered during a church service. Discourse, as a church service, a service conducted in a house of worship. A discourse, as a speech or address, the act of delivering a formal spoken communication to an audience. Discourse as a
Baccalaureate.
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 Baccalaureate. Discourse as a baccalaureate. Discourse as a baccalaureate, a farewell sermon to a graduating class at their commencement ceremonies. Discourse, preaching of the gospel of Christ in the manner of the early church. In evangelicalism, discourse is a zealous preaching and advocacy of the gospel. Homily, a discourse as a homily, a sermon on a moral or religious topic. Discourse. Discourse, an extended communication, often interactive, dealing with some particular topic. as a discussion or treatment, discourse. In communication, the activity of communicating, the activity of communicating, the activity of conveying information, discourse in detail, extended treatment of particulars, dilation, in discourse, a lengthy discussion, written or spoken, on a particular topic. Discourse in consideration, a discussion of a topic as in a meeting. A discussion that provides additional information. Discourse as a verb to consider or examine in speech or writing. To deal, plow, handle, treat, cover, address, a discourse, act on verbally or in some form of artistic expression. Discourse in descant, talk at great length about something of one's interest. Discourse. As a talk shop, discuss matters that are related to work. Discourse. Discourse is to carry on a conversation, such as argue. Have an argument about something. As an interview, conduct an interview in television, newspaper, and radio reporting. The discourse. Discourse is an interview. Discuss formally with, for the purpose of an evaluation. As an interview, go to an interview in the hope of being hired. Oh, discourse is an interview. Talk, speak. Is discourse is the exchange of thoughts. To talk with. Talk socially without exchanging too much information. The chew the fat, chit-chat. Confab. Natter, shoot the breeze, chat. Chafe, gossip, visit. Discourse, talk at length and formally about a topic. Exchange thoughts and talk with. As a conversation, a discussion, a speech, a communication, a dialogue. Discourse as a noun, the faculty, act, or production of speech and spoken language, a formal, lengthy exposition of a topic. As a verb, it is to engage in spoken exchange, a discourse. 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 A discourse. Misnomer. No, not misnomer. Misnomer. Maybe I'm saying it wrong.
Misnomer.
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 Misnomer. Misnomer as a noun. Wrong name or incorrect designation. Morning sickness is a misnomer. It can hit you day or night. Synonyms: misnaming. All right, misnomer. An error in naming a person or place. Misnomer, application of a wrong name, a name wrongingly or unsuitably applied to a person or object. Misnomer, a misapplied or inappropriate name or designation. An error in naming a person or thing. A misnomer. Misnomer, an incorrect or unsuitable name. Misnomer, a language unit by which a person or thing is known. Misnomer. Huh, that's it. Misnomer. Not misnomer, but misnomer. A hierarchy. Hierarchy. Hierarchy.
Hierarchy.
Hierarchy.
Hierarchy.
Hierarchy.
Hierarchy.
Hierarchy. Hierarchy as a noun, not hierarchy, a hierarchy. Arrangement by rank or standing. Authoritarian body organized into ranks. To be low man on the totem pole is to have a decidedly inferior place in the hierarchy. Synonyms: pecking order, order, pyramid. Hierarchy. Hierarchy. A group of persons or things organized into successive ranks or grades with each level subordinate to the one above. A career spent moving up through the military hierarchy. Hierarchy, categorization or arrangement of a group of people or things into such ranks or grades. For example, classification by hierarchy, discounting the effects of hierarchy. A body of persons having authority. His relations with and of the hierarchy. A group of animals in which certain members or subgroups dominate or submit to others. Hierarchy. One of the three divisions of angels in traditional Christian angelology. Angelology? 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 Angelology.
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 Angelology. That, well, that does sound silly. Angelology. Sounds like somebody's album. Some music album. Angelology. But we're talking about hierarchy. Hierarchy. A system of persons or things arranged in a graded order. Estacalatic. What is that word?
Ecclesiastical.
Ecclesiastical. And hierarchy in ecclesiastical terms, a body of persons in holy orders organized into graded ranks. A collective body of those so organized. Hierarchy in biology, a series of ordered groups within a system, such as the arrangement of plants and animals into classes, orders, families, etc. In linguistics, hierarchy, linguistic maths, a formal structure usually represented by a diagram of connected nodes with a single upmost element. Hierarchy in mathematics. Again, a formal structure usually represented by a diagram of connecting nodes with a single upmost element. Eschatological. Eschatological?
Ecclesiastical.
Ecclesiastic terms. Hierarchy is the government of an organized priesthood. Hierarchy, any system of persons or things ranked one above the other. Government by ecclesiastic rulers. The power or domination of a hierarch. An organized body of ecclesiastical officials in successive ranks or orders, such as the Roman Catholic hierarchy. Hierarchy, one of the three divisions of angels, each made up of three orders, conceived as constituting a graded body. And hierarchy is meant as the angels collectively. A bodies of officials arranged in rank. Uh, a series of ordered groupings of people or things within a system. Collective body of angel hierarchy. An arrangement of data consisting of sets and subsets such that every subset is a set of lower rank than the set. That's data hierarchy. Taxonomy, a classification of organisms into groups based on similarities of structure or origin, etc. Hierarchy is a system or scheme, a group of independent but interrelated elements comprising a unified whole. Hierarchy as a series, similar things placed in order or happening one after the other. Hierarchy, the organization of people at different ranks in an administrative body, like a group of people working together, the persons or committees or departments, etc., who make up a body for the purpose of administering something. The governance of an association is responsible to its members, a hierarchy. A person who holds a high position in a hierarchy is a hierarch. A hierarchy. What is this one? The low man on the totem pole is a decidedly inferior place in the hierarchy. What is with these examples and these cards? These are awful. These are awful examples. I don't like any of them. No, sir. I don't like it. Complacency. Complacency in a hierarchy. That's where you find your complacency in a hierarchy is when you know that somebody is just above you. Now, satisfaction with one's person, possessions, or accomplishments. You may be in first place right now, but your competitors are catching up fast. There is no time for complacency. These are terrible examples. Synonyms: smugness, self satisfaction. Complacency,
Complacency.
complacency,
Complacency.
complacency, complacency. As a noun, the feeling of contentment or self satisfaction, especially when coupled with the unawareness of danger, trouble, or controversy, is complacency. What does this one say? Satisfaction one's complacency. An instance of contented self satisfaction. Complacency. A feeling of satisfaction, especially extreme self satisfaction. Smugness. Complacency, an obsolete word for complacentness?
Complacence.
Complacence. No. Complacence.
Complacence.
Complacence. Complacence. The inclination to comply willingly with the wishes of others. Amability. Amability.
Amiability.
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 Amiability or amiable. Amiable, which is friendly and agreeable in position, good natured and likable. Cordial, sociable, congenial is amiable. But we're talking about complacence. Or complacency comes from the word complacence. Complacency, a feeling of quiet pleasure or security, often while unaware of or unconcerned with unpleasant realities or harmful possibilities, self satisfaction, smugness, complacency. Snug as a bug in a rug, resting on one's own laurels. Look like the cat that swallowed the canary, complacency. Complacency, the feeling you have when you are satisfied with yourself. Satisfaction, the contentment one feels when one has fulfilled a desire, need, or expectation. Smugness, an excessive feeling of self satisfaction, complacency. Complacency, like is smugness, self satisfaction, contentment, self congratulation, complacency. That's it. That's what complacency is. I'm complacent. Complacent. Prevalence. Prevalent. Prevalent. Adjective. Generally accepted. A radical, committed, generally prevalent. A radical committed to social change, Reed had no patience in the conservative views prevalent in the America of his day. Who is Reed? Widespread, prevailing, common. Prevalent. Widely or commonly occurring, existing, accepted, or practiced. A synonym for prevailing. Prevalent. Widespread or current, superior in force or power, predominant. Prevalent, widespread, of wide extent or occurrence in general use or acceptance, having the superiority or ascend, ascend, ascendancy, dominant. Prevalent, an archaic definition, is potent or affect, affectious. Affectious?
Efficacious.
Efficacious. Efficacious. Potent or efficacious is prevalent. Prevalent. Most frequent or common. Coming at prevalent, as in frequent, coming at short intervals or habitably. Prevalent. Most generally existing or encountered at a given time. Prevalent. Prevalent. Widely or commonly occurring, existing, accepted, or practiced. A radical committed to social change, which had no patience in the conservative views prevalent in America. What is that? Generally accepted. Prevalent. Widely or commonly occurring. It's prevalent. The prevalent nature of frequent complaints, a frequent guest. Smoking is becoming increasingly prevalent among younger women. Prevalent. With God's help, we shall prevail over sin and wickedness. Truth must prevail in the end. This mistaken belief still prevails in some parts of the country. To be most usual or common is to prevail. Most frequent, prevailing winds are from the west. The prevailing mood of discontent among young people. Lung disease used to be prevalent among miners. Can I prevail on you to stay for supper? Prevalent, prevail, and prevalent. Prevalent among the commoners. Such. Prevalent, prevalent, valent. Let's see. Cheap viewers on long hair. Okay. I will. I guess I'll just ban this person. Goodbye. You are banned.